Master Tavern Keeper's History of the Old World.
Och, so that was the Wolflands, was it? How was it for Snorri and Strolvar, the Slayers? How did they find it? Was it blood-spattered white wolves and goblins for them too?
Ah, well, actually, their time there was not as exciting as it was for Megnet Farfoot, as far as I could tell. Skeggy, a decade earlier.
Once it's manling. I honestly don't know what all the fuss is about with regards to Wolflands. We passed through it relatively unmolested, and we certainly didn't see any big white wolves like Megnet Farfoot did. Nor were we attacked by goblins. Snorri and I got into a couple of tussles with some very lean and hungry wolves, of course. But, if anything, these were good things. By the time we got to the other side of the Wolflands, we had long, warm wolfskin cloaks, fur trim on our boots, new bags and pouches, and our bellies were very much full of tough wolf meat. Not that I'd recommend it, mind you. It's like eating wet leather, as well as being lean and pungent. There are definitely tastier meats out there. But, that said, I was hungry, and so I ate it like a proverbial wolf. Snorri, on the other hand, had no qualms whatsoever. In point of fact, he loved it, finishing off what I could no longer stomach. To each their own, eh?
Anyway, that was all Strolvar had to say about the Wolflands. But, having left that dangerous place behind, they now found themselves on the cusp of entering somewhere even more foreboding. The Desolation of Azgorh.
But before we could enter the Desolation of Azgorh, we found ourselves on the southern edge of the Wolflands, with two great dens of iniquity barring our way. The rats of Crookback Mountain to the west, and the goblins of Mount Greyhag to the east. Our path led us directly between these two enemies. I was sure we'd have to fight our way through a wall of ratmen and goblins to reach the other side, but Snorri was of the opposing opinion. He said we'd meet no one, and, to my surprise, in this he was most certainly right. Why, you're about to ask, no doubt, manling. Once it. Once we were past the no man's land between the two peaks, he explained it all to me. Look, Bedlin, it's simple. The constant state of fighting between these two bastions of darkness is the reason for the lack of enemies. You see, the rats of Clan Lictus there yonder regularly raid the lands of the Grobby of Greyhag for slaves and plunder, and for their part, the Greenskins are known to launch both punitive and retaliatory offences against the rats whenever they have the numbers. This effectively means that the strip of land exactly between the two enclaves that we just navigated through is somewhere that both sides try to steer clear of so as to avoid provoking the other. It was all written down there in the books I made you read back in Carrick Cadrin. Did you miss that bit, Beardlin? Thus, for that time, our blades remained sheathed, and we left the road of blood and carnage for the path of silence and stealth. I remember that the land was eerily silent, save for the wind. But as we moved through the desolate landscape of death and destruction, I thought I could hear Snorri muttering under his breath. I was surprised. It was not like him to gripe, I thought, and I was right. As I listened more closely, I realized he wasn't mumbling at all. He was quietly singing an ancient song. I knew it not, but soon learnt it nonetheless as I listened. It has become something I still sing to this day in trying times, though I still do not know even what it's called. The war cries, well died, well reaped is the crop. Battle further has given way to despair. Blood stink now fills the air. Stalking past the dead and cold corpses brown red. Neck deep are the pits of our last kin. As I step over grey corpse skin. Bring us your dead and stack high the pyre. It's all over, there's no one left here. Not a soul, there's nothing to fear. And in this way we passed unnoticed between the two mountains and into the dark depths of the Desolation of Azgorh, where nothing lives and all is rock and ruin. Both of us singing our song until we reached the Ash Ridge Mountains.
And Strolvar said no more with regards to the next leg of their journey through the broken lands of the Desolation of Azgorh.
Och, and as enigmatic as that might be, is there nothing that you can tell us about this here Desolation of
Azgorh. And yes, actually, in point of fact, I do know a little of its history. I recall my friend, the exiled High Elf Archmage, Calhordis Whitemane, talking about it once as we played cards in the top room of his place in Skeggy.
I swear, human, trying to beat you at this game is like trying to best a slan in a contest of high magic. It is as if you have been blessed by some divine patron of chance.
I honestly have no idea what you mean. Anyway, please, shuffle the deck, Calhordis. So, just before your sudden loss, we were talking about your favourite subjects. Earth, rock, and stone. What were you going to say about this Desolation of Azgorh? Just what happened there? That was so interesting.
Yes, human, so I was. In the southwestern part of the Darklands, there is a place of such absolute devastation and desolation that no life exists there. No plants, no creeping, crawling creatures, no skulking goblins, no burrowing ratmen, no marching black orcs, nor even the tinkering, traitorous kin of the dwarves. It is bereft of animal, vegetable, and belligerent. At the heart of this land was an ancient volcano called Azgorh, though who gave it its name is lost to the annals of history. Its notoriety, though, is more recent. 3,000 years ago, it erupted. It exploded in a detonation the likes of which has not been known in the millennia before nor since. The sound of the explosion was recorded in the scrolls of the elven colony in the land you now call Bretonia. Traders in what is now known as the Sea of Tilea, too, wrote that they saw an enormous ash cloud drifting southwards in the wake of the eruption. It rent the area between the Ash Ridge Mountains in the south, just north of the Plain of Bones, and the mountains of Gorgoth, north of Mount Azgorh. Open. Magma from the dark depths was projected far and wide. Hot gas and debris exploded outwards, swallowing all in its wake, sucking the very life out of the air and overtaking everything and anything in its path in choking tephra. In the aftermath, lava poured over the ruptured sides of the cracked mountain, burning and melting it all, and spreading hither and thither. The devastation was total. In the weeks and months after, earthquakes racked and raked up the landscape, slicing, cutting, carving, and scarring the lands into a labyrinth of razor-sharp rocks, pits of choking, burning sulfur, and vents of suffocating, toxic steam.
What caused such a cataclysmic eruption? I've never heard the like.
Disasters such as these rarely have a single cause, but I have a theory involving the rise of the Ratmen in the old human city of Kavzar. I am still conducting research into this though, so I will tell all when I have reached my own conclusions. There, I think these cards have been shuffled enough. Please cut the deck, human.